Hey everyone, it's Saturday, May 22nd. The time right now is 12:51 p.m. and the temperature is 27 degrees Celsius. I'm here in the Yonge and Eglinton neighborhood in Midtown Toronto. And this here is Yonge Street. And there's a look to the south. And that is the CN Tower way off in the distance there. And the plan for this one is to head north up Yonge Street through the Yonge and Eglinton neighborhood, up past Lawrence, and through Yonge and Lawrence. And this is the first day that outdoor recreational activities have resumed in the province, so I'm assuming that's what's happening across the street there. And here's where Eglinton Station is. And there's a proposal for 4 or 5 very large towers to go in this property. That's been a source of controversy in this neighborhood. So I'm currently walking north up the west side of Yonge, and I think I'll stay on the west side throughout this walk. There's the E-condos. And it is supposed to rain this afternoon. It actually said there might be some showers starting at 1 p.m. Or at least at some point between 1 and 2. I do have an umbrella in my backpack in case that happens. There's a look east along Eglinton Avenue East. And the never-ending LRT construction remains here at Yonge and Eglinton. So this is my neighborhood. I live just around the corner from here. So I was feeling a bit lazy today. I did a fair bit of recording yesterday, including a pretty long live stream, so I'm just taking it a bit easy. This is the Yonge Eglinton Center on the left. And most of the stores in there are closed, or at least they're only open for pickup. And it looks like the earliest we'll be seeing retail open is June 14th, and that would be with certain capacity limits. And there's a brand new Dollarama across the street. That's something that this neighborhood has been lacking. The closest one is over on Mount Pleasant, just south of Eglinton. That's right next door to the Rose and Crown, with the new Pie restaurant up top. That's a Northern Thai restaurant, and Absolute Comedy, which used to be a Yuck Yucks down below it. And maybe once I get to Yonge and Lawrence at some point, towards the end of the walk, I'll check out some of the residential streets. And here's Postal Station K. I think this went up in 1936. And it's been preserved as part of this new rental building. There's this small grocery store that's moved into that spot. And this area is known as Montgomery Square. And this is Montgomery Avenue on my left, and on the other side it is Broadway Avenue. And that Jollibee, which is a Filipino fast food chain, has sure taken its sweet time to open up. There is another historical building, which is now the health station. And this was a staging point during the Upper Canada Rebellion back in 1837, particularly the site of Postal Station K, which used to be Montgomery's Tavern. And speaking of used to be, this space used to be a Best Buy. And prior to that, it was a Future Shop. Now there's a sign that says pop-up space available. And this is kind of annoying for me, because I lived around the corner from here, and I'd not too long ago purchased a 65-inch TV from there, and it was kind of nice just being able to reserve it online. I walked over and borrowed a dolly from them and brought it back to my place on my own. I no longer have that luxury. And this place, Bin's, that used to be a Federal Express, or one of those FedEx Kinko's offices. And this used to be, I think it was Urban Restoration Hardware, a very high-end furniture shop. They're gone. Beddington's is still here. And this food truck seems to be doing a pretty good business. Maybe not today, but it was packed yesterday when I went by. Looks like a window's being replaced at the Starbucks. That's nice of this van to block the crossing like that. And here's where Sporting Life used to be, at least their skis and bikes location. And again, I used to take my bike there whenever I had a flat and I needed to pick up a new tube. But they're gone. And BMO coming soon. There's a much larger Sporting Life just to the south of here, and I think they've rolled those operations into that one. And Gamerama used to be to the south of here. And there's a Salon of Thief. I used to get my hair done there till they kept jacking up their prices. There's the Met. That's an old theater that's now an event venue. Although there obviously hasn't been a whole lot going on there lately. Camden Meat Market. And here's another former location of something I sorely miss. This is where Enterprise Rent-A-Car used to be. The restrictions from the pandemic knocked this one out. This location is closed indefinitely. And I think their Yonge and Shepherd location might be closing too. I used to have a work discount that would get me a car for about $20 a day, and that was super convenient. There's where Sport Check used to be. I don't know what I don't know what they can do with that location now. It looks so obviously like a Sport Check. And a high-end furniture store, Castle Life. And just one block to the west of here is Duplex Avenue. And here's Clements Young Park. And those signs say Uptown Yonge, but most people refer to this as Midtown. Although originally this was North Toronto, way back when. And there is Sherwood Avenue. So I recently did a ravine and park walk through Midtown last week. Or I guess earlier this week. And I went along Sherwood. And this is Briar Hill Avenue. You might notice the more north I go, the less apartments and condos and more low-rise the neighborhood becomes. think this used to be a Gap Kids. Free donut with every coffee purchase. I might have to pick one up on my way back. That's Uncle Betty's. It's kind of a modern take on diner and comfort style food. You can get an expensive hot dog there, but it's pretty good. So on the east side of Yonge, that neighborhood is known as Sherwood Park. And on the left is Lytton Park, I believe. There's the Club Monaco, formerly a Canadian retailer. At some point they were purchased by Tommy Hilfiger. It used to be kind of similar to the Gap, maybe a little bit nicer or trendier. But they had those distinct Club Monaco sweaters that pretty much every Canadian household had back then. Kind of distinctly remember a purple sweater with a circular Club Monaco logo in the middle. That would probably be a hot selling retro item if they ever brought it back. There's a Starbucks. There used to be a Deflay bakery right around here on the left. There's Sporting Life with a number of people with their bikes out in front of it. So I guess those people last year would have been visiting their other location just to the south of here that we passed. Here's the Roots. And Blythewood Avenue over there, where that Domino's is, which I'm very grateful moved in, used to be a Subway. So as I mentioned, the earliest we could start to see some of these retailers open is June 14th. There's a plan for a 9-story building here. But the numbers, at least in the city, have continued to plummet. Yesterday, there were only 416 new reported cases, which matches the traditional Toronto area code of 416. So we had 416 in the 416. Next up, 289. That's another area code that serves this area. Hopefully we never see 647 again. When I moved back to Toronto from living in Seoul, I got a phone and they assigned me a 647 number, and I kind of felt like, what the heck is this? I had a 416 number all my life up until then, or at least as long as I've had cell phones. I felt a few light splashes of rain on my left arm. There's a new building going in, the Winslow.ca. And this is Glencairn Avenue. So well off to the west of here, there is a subway station. There isn't one on the Yonge Street side. Looks like this garden center is doing a pretty busy business. We have a cop on paid duty managing the parking lot. They have temporary parking out on Yonge Street. So it's nice to see there are at least some businesses that aren't owned by Amazon or one of the big box retailers thriving. Speaking of thriving, these cannabis shops have really taken hold during the pandemic. And I think they've pounced on a lot of the prime retail that's become vacant from companies that couldn't afford to stay open without any more support than what they got. So there's been a boon for that industry. So Yonge Street sort of dips down into a bit of a valley just up ahead here. Someone pointed out, someone with the eagle eyes, that a NASCAR-looking vehicle drove right by where I was standing on my Yonge Street, or when I was crossing Yonge Street on that Midtown ravine walk I posted a few days ago. And that appears to be the car, that number 3 Good Wrench car across the street. That was only in the video for 1 or 2 seconds. So now we know where that car likes to park, I think. And just up here on the right, it's where the Lawrence Park neighborhood starts. That's an affluent neighborhood. I've live streamed through there. And there's the Alexander Muir Gardens. He was the composer of the Maple Leaf Forever. I walked right through that park a few days ago in that other video. I started at the duplex parquet, which is just here on the left. I think these buildings might be the Alexander Muir residences. And this is where the Burke Brook runs underneath Yonge Street. This, I believe, used to be a Petro-Canada. The soil's probably too contaminated for anything recent or for any new builds to go up. It's a nice looking entrance to that rental complex. Never really noticed that before. There's a tennis club in the park across the street. I'm kind of curious if that's opened up today. And my camera looks like it just had a bit of a hiccup. It stopped recording and it started again. It's done this a few times. Not sure what's causing it. It seems to be random. I've tried different memory cards. Also, the microphones don't work properly anymore. I always record externally with this. I'm not sure if that's a big enough deal to get a new camera or not. Maybe I'll go down the warranty replacement route. But that'll leave me without a Pocket 2 for a while. I guess I could use my old one. Then I'll lose this handy 2x zoom feature. And that's Lawrence Park across the street. I always thought this orthodontics shop on the left reminds me of a Greek restaurant with those colors. And on the right is the George H. Locke Memorial Library branch. And that goes back to the 1940s. And that was the first public building in this neighborhood. Just here on the left is a former Starbucks. They have closed so many locations recently throughout Toronto. I'd really like to see some independent and smaller locally owned chains take up a lot of those locations, because Starbucks tended to be in very convenient locations. And this is Lawrence Avenue. And along Lawrence Avenue East, we'll take you through Lawrence Park over to York University's Glendon campus. And just beyond that is the Bridle Path neighborhood. There's a look along Lawrence Avenue West. So this is Lawrence Station, and off to the west is Lawrence West Station. And you can enter Lawrence Station on that side as well. That opened in 1973 along with York Mill Station, which is the next stop to the north of here. We won't be making it that far. But they opened as part of a northern subway expansion. And then a year later, I think Shepherd Yonge Station opened. There's an independent city market. Has it closed down? It does not look open. Another independent city market, which is basically another way of saying Loblaws, closed down, which was on College, right near College and Spadina, and that's turning into a TNT. Retail unit, 600 to 12,000 square feet. So it looks like it's gone, and they're gonna chop it up into other retail opportunities. I'm very surprised to see that supermarket's dead. Although this area, being that there's not a lot of high-rises or mid-rises, it's probably filled with residents who mostly use their vehicle to get around, and there is a much larger Loblaws just to the north of here with a rather large parking lot, so I'm sure that's where the locals prefer to shop. There's also a Whole Foods and Farm Boy within reasonable driving distance. And here's Metro, which would be lower cost than that independent city market. So I think everyone else, like me, would probably just prefer to go here. There's some analysis I just made up, but there's probably some truth to that. You'll notice, unlike Yonge and Eglinton, there's virtually no high-rises here. And this is Bedford Park Avenue. There's an old school just next to it. I'm not even sure what school that is. Bedford Park Public School. I could have guessed that.
Hey, we just paid our debt. Let's incur more debt.
And here's a northern entrance to Lawrence subway station. As per this sign, this is the Yonge Lawrence Village. It's probably given that name by a business improvement area or a BIA association, however you call it. So that would apply just to the stretch of Yonge Street. There's a 12-story building proposed for that site. So they're definitely a lot shorter in this area. There would probably be pretty strong NIMBY pressure if they went higher than that. In fact, I imagine the pitchforks will be out over that 12-story proposal. And I don't really come to this neighborhood pretty much ever unless I'm filming. So I can't comment so much on a lot of the comings and goings of these businesses. Well, I can tell you that used to be a Tim Hortons. Although where that Dollarama is used to be a PJ's Pets. I do remember coming up here to go there. According to my watch, I just hit some kind of goal I didn't know I had. Thanks, Fitbit. It said goal achieved 150. I don't really pay attention to that stuff. And this is Fairlawn Avenue. At Mastermind Toys. I've never actually been there, but I've seen their locations all over. Oh no, is the burger cellar gone? There's a for sale sign in the window, and they don't appear to be doing any takeout. We have lost so many places over this pandemic. It's borderline heartbreaking. This place was great. I really liked it there. And it was always fairly busy. Now, Burger's Priest did open next to it. That probably took a lot of their takeout business, but that grinds my gears. These places were forced to close down and basically fight with one arm tied behind their back and given a pathetic amount of financial support. I would not be surprised if some type of class action lawsuit emerged. Even though that would be my tax dollars paying for it, I'd probably have no problems with it. Gotta be careful snaking around this truck. Although I don't actually know the real reason why the burger cellar closed. That was just sort of my gut reaction when I saw it. I'll probably look that up when I get home. I'd been there 3 or 4 times. Pretty much every time I came up to go to PJ's Pets, which was the only reason I had to come to this neighborhood. I found myself eating there. There's a Belly Buster Submarines. And here's where Young meets Young, just up ahead. I'm on Yonge Street, and this is Yonge Boulevard. I remember streaming by this Scotia Bank here and commenting on how I kind of liked it. Usually banks are kind of boring and uninspired, and they sit on prime real estate, but I think Scotia Bank did a good job with that location. And there's the Loblaws I talked about earlier. And that would be Hogs Hill. So just down that hill, we'll take you to York Mills and Wilson Avenue, but I'm gonna head through a bit of the residential area before wrapping this one up. I've explored a bit through the east side of Yonge here, through this neighborhood, around Teddington Park, but never the west side. At least not on this channel. I've ridden my bike through here a number of times. And I'll make my way south. I've never been in the Bedford Park entrance to Lawrence Station, so I think I will step in there and make my way down to Eglinton Station. There's a house for sale. Looks more like an apartment building. So this is Old Orchard Grove. I'm hoping if the weather's nice tomorrow, I can head down to the beaches and do a walk along Queen Street and maybe record another one along the boardwalk. I've been meaning to get to that area while it's busy and nice out. I was thinking of doing that today, but there was this threat of rain. I'd imagine these are all $2.5, $3 million homes, probably at the lower end. If you see one for sale, maybe I can look it up on my phone. For a modern home, that's kind of nice. I find a lot of the newer builds all tend to kind of look the same. And there's the Church of St. Timothy waiting for us. This is Ridley Boulevard. So I think I'm now heading south. Interesting contrast between very new and very old. And something that's fairly new done in the style of something old.
I know, but like, you're like, where do you
This is Eglinton Avenue. So that would be Yonge Street way over there. And I said I was on Ridley Boulevard, but it looks like south of this intersection, according to these signs, we are now on Jedburgh Road. So this street changes names a number of times. Just north of that intersection, it's Ridley. South of here, it's Jedburgh. Then when you get to Lawrence, south of there, it becomes Duplex Avenue. Good thing for mobile devices, I guess. Navigating these areas would have been a bit confusing without a map back then, just because of things like that. All right, I think I'll head back over to Yonge at this next street. And we'll call it a video. Some pretty neat homes here. This one's got a flat roof. So this is St. Germain Avenue. Good for those kids getting out on their bikes and learning how to ride on the streets. Okay, Jedburgh Road. Let's see what St. Germain has to offer. It's a pair of new homes going in. I really like this one. Maybe the developer had a 2-for-1 special with these. The facade is different. They're very clearly the same footprint. I guess they build them in twos on this street. And it looks like that one has an excellent rooftop area. I really don't know anything about residential architecture. There's another one with a neat rooftop area. I think we saw that same style of house earlier, and I said I liked it. These homes are all just clones of one another. Maybe you just drive around and find one you like and then tell the developer you want one of those. A lot of these homes have a mini Forest Hill vibe to them. Oh, and this is where Mastermind Toys is. So we've made it back to Yonge. I hope you enjoyed this Midtown Toronto walk starting just south of Yonge and Eglinton and heading north up Yonge through Yonge and Eglinton and Yonge and Lawrence up to Yonge Boulevard. And I looped around through some residential streets and made my way back to Yonge. What I might try doing is making a video from here down to Lawrence subway station. I haven't made too many videos for my Stumbles channel lately, and that's the kind of video I would do there, so maybe I'll give that a try. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you on the next one.